Good evening. This is Cheryl at Sea Spirit Tarot. Welcome to Take 2. Me, who is always up 2-3 hours before work, barely made it out the door, came home just full of vibrant energy to make all these videos and slept until after 8 p.m. So now I'm up. So I got up, these ruthless gods and goddesses pushing me to do this. And I did a reading, and I called the planets all the wrong things. It was just an awful hodgepodge. And this one maybe too. We're coming up tomorrow, I'm not even sure, see, to a full moon, I believe, in Gemini, and my mind's like everywhere. And I did a reading, I called everything the wrong thing. It was just, so, take 2, here we go. I mentioned earlier, I used to do all the witches' oils, and that's how I learned. And I did the sage on the Navajo res, you do the cedar, and that's okay. You know, I have dragon's blood, I have cauldrons, I have all that stuff, but I basically do therapeutic oils that you don't heat, because you run the constituents, because they're medicinal, whether it's psychological or physical, of which in the French school of aromatherapy, of which I am of, and these are pure, you can ingest them, you can put them on your body. If you're not in this country, you can get a workup, and you can maybe get an IV of frankincense. What did they give Jesus, huh? Frankincense and myrrh. So anyway, here we begin again. And it's kind of funny that I'm doing this twice, because when you'll see the second Crowley card, that's going to be the giggle. And so here I am, I'm your teacher for the Crowley deck, but I don't know the Crowley deck. So I'm drawing 3 cards a day and just keep going through them until they start sticking in my head. That's what I did with the Mary Owl, of which I'm a little rusty on them right now. If I use them, I'd have to do some work looking some of that up. But other of it speaks to me pretty clearly. So anyway, I did a reading. It was a mess. And so I regrouped, and here we are. The oil I'm using, as I'm traveling around, is Release. Release is great for releasing things from your limbic system, which is where you store your emotions, where they go into somatic illnesses. You suppress them, and then you just repress them, and they're gone. They go in your joints, into a body organ. I do believe a lot of that. Not a lot of it. I believe it's our frequency and our energetics that make problems in our body. So I had a different goddess. But then when I was regrouping, and I'm not too regrouped because I can't find my magnifying glass. But I found this poor lady on the floor, and you know, she's always one of my favorites. Ninkasa. She was given birth by the flowing waters. She satisfies desire and sates the hungry heart. Cleanses the wounds of miasma. Miasma is lower energies, demons. They have different words of which could attach to your body and cause illness or cause you to do extremely strange things, right? You restore like the waters from which you were birthed. And even though I'm really not a drinker, she is a goddess of beer and brewing. And there she was down there on the floor, most unhappy. And she's great colors. Wonderful woman here. So I thought, I brought her back. I got rid of the other goddess because she just wasn't working for me. Anyway, now with this release oil, the card that I drew, the Arcturian code, is release. And what do we do on a full moon? We release. So this would be releasing structures, thought patterns, spirals, configurations, things that no longer serve us. And I was listening to I think it was Molly McCord who does some great podcasts, and 20 years ago or something, I took a Lemurian priestess class. I still have some of it. Rah, rah, rah. And now we're looking at energetically the merging of Atlantis and Lemurian. And that comes up interesting because what I got today was 2 swords and an earth. So the first card I came up with is the 6 of Swords, with the rosy cross in the middle and the 6 swords piercing to learn the truth of being. And that's why we're here. I mean, I am that I am, I know that I know. What you need to do, what one needs to do, or what I need to do, how do I say it correctly, is increase my frequency, and by my beingness comes my knowingness, my awareness and my knowingness, and also from that frequency helps other people reach a higher frequency. And we're all going to the highest frequencies we can. I'm not saying I'm the highest frequency, you know. I'm not Thoth of the Emerald Tablets rocking around here, even if the moon is going to be in Mercury. This card is actually Mercury in Aquarius. I don't have the decans written down. Mercury is your intellect. Mercury moves fast. Mercury jumps. Mercury's smart. But here it is stuck in Aquarius. And though when Uranus comes to light like it is right now, in part of the configuration that's causing all of these epic world changes, when it's stuck in Aquarius, Aquarius is a fixed sign, and Mercury is mutable. So it's like boxed in. So it doesn't have the freedom to bounce all over. Maybe that makes it a better concentration. 6 matched and balanced swords focus their powers of analysis and discrimination upon the mysteries of being. It's keenly analytical, mind, and extraordinary ability to concentrate. See, this is my second take. I'm still conservating. And persevere. Isn't that what it is? 6 is perseverance, overcoming obstacles, but in a calm, analytical way, because Aquarius has Mercury boxed in. And it is the Lord of earned success. What I do when I do this is I write down basically the words of what Crowley said. And I haven't even looked in the other part of the book that gives the regular definitions. I'm just going between Crowley and Frida Harris, Lady Frida Harris, with the cards, and the geometry is just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. So there is concentration. But then comes interference. Now this is her 8 of Swords. And I changed the lights here. Oh my gosh, the lighting that was just bouncing everywhere. But this is the Lord of shortened force. And here we have Jupiter in Gemini. So Mercury rules Gemini. And Jupiter is expansive, growth, philosophy, knowledge, religion. And this are the first 10 degrees of Gemini, just coming out of Taurus, you know, another fixed hard sign. There's more of a Rider-Waite rendition. Lord of shortened force, luck and intellectual pursuits. But Crowley says that the will, it's constantly thwarted by accidental interference. So one must develop patience and persistence. Otherwise, the fighting of the swords will serve to interfere. So, you know, here Mercury is restricted in order and getting something done. And here Jupiter is bouncing around in the duality and causing havoc. And we need to take those swords. They're both mind controls, right? Thy will be done. and pay attention to what it's doing, and don't be entrapped in here. Use your analytical abilities. So that pretty well fits. I started off with all great intentions. Everything went totally awry. I finally just put on a chakra balancing CD. It's just like I just had to do a total regroup. Got my rocks, got my skull, got my sorceress stone. And the next card that came up is the Princess of Echoing Hills, Rose of the Palace of the Earth. Along with the Ace of Pentacles, rules the part of the zodiac of Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. She's pregnant. She comes into the barren earth, and she brings fertility, greenness, and freshness. So in some ways, she would be related, right, to the Empress of Venus that rules Taurus, and she'd be related to the Emperor, who's organizing everything because he rules Aries, or Aries rules him. And then taking those two together, the duality, to putting them together, the fertility here. I'm going to learn all these petals and what they mean, but I don't have it yet. So here is a wonderful fertility grounding card to end the reading on. After you have analyzed and kept outside interference at bay and stayed focused on your integrity and where it is that you're going, and releasing what you don't need. What else did he say? Priestess of Demeter, she rises from the earth. Oh yeah, her wand. Her wand is a tetrahedron diamond wand that signifies that we are all made of carbon. Carbon-based life. Crowley calls this card, can I get her where she's pretty on there and you can see her? Womanhood in her ultimate projection. And a little tidbit, this is the most reproduced, framed, hung around, probably one of the most familiar cards that has become of the piece of art of the Thoth deck that you see, that has been reproduced. And for my oracle card, I drew one of my Hubble cards because I haven't been doing them lately, and I don't have hardly any cards. I mean, people have hundreds of cards, 50 decks, 300 decks. I've got, at this point, maybe 11 or 12 decks and, I don't know, 6 oracles or something, some of them old, and I just can't even figure out how to use. I want to use every single one of them every time. Anyway, we got the Chariot. Still got some glare here. And these is the Hubble telescope. And you talk about carbon and gas based. Looking at these, I don't know where that glare is. Looking at these photographs are mesmerizing. I mean, they are worth meditating on themselves. And of course, with the Chariot, we have determination, ambition, and emotional control, which works just well with this, works just well with this, and brings us to our fertility of our ideas and what we are going to do. Once again, the sacred geometry, feed your head, Alice said, feed your head, is release. Release, analyze, stay focused, create, and move forward in your path of evolution or whatever it is which you desire. Those are my shell and bird pictures of the Gulf Coast right there. Can you see them? They're illustrated right here in the universe of the chariot. Puts a little more water and air in it, doesn't it? Anyway, thank you very much if you sat through this. I greatly appreciate it. Like I said, this is the job that the gods and goddesses gave me once I got out of nursing. So now I can be free to make videos on alternative medicine, on the divination of the cards, and any other esoteric, metaphysical, or spiritual, or otherwise, that I choose to put out there. So thank you for sitting through here. I love you all. I'm planning on doing a moon spread next, but whatever happens, because like I said, I slept all day. I just woke up at 8 o'clock tonight. May the goddess bless and have a great evening, or whenever you're watching this, have a fabulous day. Namaste.